What's going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Pod Scum. I'm your host, your bastard of ceremonies, Reckless Rexx Ruger. That, of course, if you couldn't tell by the two gangly front teeth, is my silent partner, always watching my back, the Freddie Mercury puppet. This, of course, is where the cool kids come to chop it up with your boy, Rexx Ruger, a.k.a. One Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. And even though I don't need affirmation, I'm going to take a look anyway just because I enjoy the view. And what a view it is. The Roth quaff is in effect, and sometimes I need a little help, even though I've got the rock star genetics, and I go to this right here. This will step up your game exponentially. You will move up levels, but never to this point. You can't look this good because that's damn near impossible. As I said, genes are on my side, so, don't hate, congratulate. That's what I always say. But if you want to, if you want to step up your game a little bit, that's the product to go to. And if you'd like to contribute to the already huge hole in the ozone layer, this is where it all started, folks, I believe. We can trace it right back to the 1980s and this stuff. But, hey, you want to make an omelet, you got to break a couple eggs. That being said, we will have proof once and for all. Even though it's the holiday time, things have grinded to a halt a little bit. My lawyers are still in contact and have assured me that proving that I am Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. is going to happen, probably more likely in the new year 2025, but we will have conclusive DNA proof eventually here that you are looking at the son of glam, the front man for the band, adored by millions of fans, the peanut butter to your jam, wham, bam, thank you, ma'am, Mr. Wop Boppa Loo Boppa Wop, bam, bam, shazam, hot damn. Man, if David Lee Roth isn't being channeled through me, man, for me, this case, when it goes to court, is a slam dunk. And you guys all know it too. That being said, while we're waiting for my guest here, let me get some of my obligatory promotional stuff out of the way. Take it right off the table. You got to do it nowadays. You got to be on the socials. Pod Scum is there. Like and follow us on Facebook, where you will get updates on new episodes. There will be boxing stuff on there occasionally. As you know, on this channel, I did a boxing podcast called Off the Couch Boxing. But my guest is here right now. I'll go into promo mode after we're done chatting. Let's get down to the brass tacks of why we're here and get into it with my man, Marco. And there he is. And there he is.
I hear you, but oh, yeah.
Now you see me, right?
Yeah, I see you right there.
You good? Marco, how's it going, buddy?
Good. How are you?
I'm awesome, man. So, hey, first of all, I want to start by saying that you're teaching drum lessons. When we talked last year, was that something you were doing then as well?
Was it last year we talked?
Yeah, it's been a while since we talked. Have you always been a music teacher?
Yeah, pretty much since the last 8 years or so.
Yeah.
But it was more hobby-wise, like a small side business.
Right.
But since last year, summer, things really took off, and I'm doing it full-time right now.
And do you enjoy teaching, man? Because a lot of people, man, like my mother was a school teacher. Teaching is not for everybody. It takes a lot of patience. Do you enjoy it?
I enjoy it a lot, but every day is different. I must say every week is different, because sometimes mostly kids are super motivated to learn something new. And next week they are totally into their PlayStation and their Xbox again, and they didn't do their homework. So then you get stuck at a certain level, and but like 95%, it's pure fun, really. Yeah.
Now, I don't know what we touched on, because as I said, we talked on the podcast last year. So for you, I'm going to kind of start at the beginning. For you, was there a specific album or a song or an artist that really lit the fire for you to want to do music?
I think, then I have to say Iron Maiden.
Okay.
Probably.
Okay.
And to be more specific, Nico McBrain.
Okay. So that was so would you say that Nico is probably the guy that has had the most influence on your playing?
Influence, yes. Together with Mickey D. When I was when I started drums, internet was available already. Right. And YouTube came in, I think, and I had access to the internet to discover a lot of things. And I always saw live Motorhead footage with Mickey D behind the drums, hitting super hard with crazy techniques and fills, and the same is for Nick McBrain actually. So yeah, it's most of those two players, and not only their playing style, but like how they are playing it. Having so much fun, putting the effort in the drums, sounding good, creative. That was, yeah, the eye opener. I want to do music for the rest of my life. Yeah.
Now, I'm a huge fan of CRYPTOSIS, man. In 2021, when Bionic Swarm came out, man, just an amazing album, man. You guys are just so proficient on your instruments. I mean, it really is progressive thrash metal, man. You guys are such masters of your instrument.
Thank you.
So 2023, we get The Silent Call, which is an EP. Yeah. Do you feel like now the music industry has changed so much? Do you feel like it's more of an EP world now? Are you guys done doing LPs, or is this just what you wanted to do for right now?
No, we are working on an album. Actually, the album is done already, but okay. Now I have to be very careful. Because I don't know what I can say, but
right,
the new
album, I get it.
The new album will be released early next year.
Okay.
On Central Media Records, but we are like you mentioned, we are like not only on our instrument, but also with songwriting. We are super into details, making everything perfect, and we are never satisfied with how songs turn out. So it might take 40 versions of a demo before we go to the studio and record a song. So the EP was basically buying time,
Okay.
So it's not that we're doing nothing, but just for the outside world to let them know, hey, we're still alive. There's new stuff coming, but it was like to buy time to finish the album.
Well, because listening trends have changed, and there have been a lot of bands that have gone the EP route just because of the way people are consuming music nowadays. The attention spans are not what they used to be. People aren't sitting through full albums no more. So I wasn't sure if that was the direction you guys were going to go in, if it was going to be EPs from here on in.
Well, actually, if it's up to us, we totally agree on what you say. I mean, people don't really listen to albums anymore. And I think people don't even listen full songs anymore.
Yeah.
I mean, it might sound crazy, but if you know the Silent Call, you hear the intro, and people are like in the first or second chorus. Okay, I had enough. Next song. It's the Spotify playlist. It goes on and on. So, but yeah, we are all fans of albums. I mean, Frank and Lawrence are vinyl collectors as well. Me, not so much. But we like the concept of albums because a full album tells a story, and the EP is like a small story.
Yeah.
But yeah, looking at the business side of things, though, making 3 EPs instead of 1 album is way smarter.
Yes. Yeah.
I don't know. I think people are not really ready for it. And also Central Media Records. We are with Central Media, of course. They are totally... Well, they're not against it, but they are more fan of albums. They don't really release EPs at all. So,
right. Okay. And because you guys are a trio, I mean, and I look at you guys as also creatively, prolific. What's the creative process like when CRYPTOSIS creates music? Is it collaborative? Does somebody come in with the lion's share of the ideas? How does it work when you 3 get together to make music?
It's mostly Lawrence and Frank. They are, they are the songwriters in the band. I don't really write songs. I only, I check the demos because we use Google Drive. Everything we, every ID will be uploaded on the Google Drive, so we can all check it out. And basically, I'm like, yeah, whatever they are making, I really like it. When I listen to it, I'm like, damn, that sounds good. And when it's not good, in my opinion, I will tell them, and I'm like, guys, can we try it this way or try this and blah blah blah. So yes, it's we do the 3 of us, but I mean, it's more Lawrence and Frank who write the structure of the songs and the riffs, and then when that's mostly finished, I will put my sauce on it with my drums and other fills and be a bit more creative with beats and details and that kind of stuff.
Now, when you're teaching drumming and you're drumming for a living, obviously for people that don't know, it's physical. You know what I mean? Like you're using a lot of your body or whatever. A lot of guys who I've talked to who have done it for a long time, they get little aches and pains. They got to adjust the stool. They got to change the layout of their drums. Has any of that happened for you?
Not yet.
No.
But I think if you have a good technique, I mean, yeah, if you play drums for 8 hours a day, sure, you will get cramps and stuff. But the same is with guitar, I think. But over the last 20 years, I've been playing drums for 20 years now, and I developed more wrist technique. So I don't play with my arms. So my shoulders and my elbows are totally fine. It's my wrist doing the work. And although live shows are a bit more demanding, like physically.
Yeah.
But when I'm teaching, I'm not playing super hard. We are playing Bon Jovi and AC/DC songs, which is relaxed. But shows are more physical than teaching. But nothing crazy so far. But I'm still super young. You never know what's coming in the near future.
That's true. And in 2024, In Aphelion also released an album.
Yeah. This
And
August. Yeah.
And so you're splitting your time between both bands. Does one band take more of a precedent, or is one band more of a priority? Do you consider one like the main gig, or are they both kind of equal in your mind?
Well, yeah, they are equal in a way that they are not equal. Does that make any sense? I mean,
I think I know what you're getting at. Yeah.
I mean, I'm a drummer and I have to make money from playing drums. So I mean, I do session stuff as well. And if there's a session gig booked and CRYPTOSIS has a show offer or In Aphelion, I'm like, sorry guys, I'm booked with another band. So it's first come, first serve.
Right. Okay.
We know CRYPTOSIS will release the album early next year. We know we're going to do a lot of shows to promote the album. So I will say no to most session gigs that I'm like, okay, it's fun to do, but I can't give this priority to.
I've got a day job.
Yeah.
On
CRYPTOSIS, but this year, for example, CRYPTOSIS was basically recording the whole year and the mixing, video clips, photo shoots, blah blah. Not so many shows, so then I will say yes to any fun session gig that comes up, basically.
And I'm glad you brought up shows though, because obviously touring now has become a pivotal part of the business now. You got to be out there on the road. You got to be grinding and selling merchandise. Do you still like that aspect of the business? Because a lot of times people don't like to be, you kind of living like a nomad out there. You know what I mean? You're kind of out there, you know what I mean? You're away from all your comforts of home. Do you like that part of the business? Are you big on touring?
I am actually a drummer because I like traveling and I like touring.
Okay.
Not so much. I don't mean traveling, waiting for 6 hours at the airport or something. I mean, it has downsides, of course. But for example, In Aphelion doesn't tour at all. We do shows, but no tours. But for CRYPTOSIS, it's like you're on a paid holiday with your friends. You have a bus driver that drives you all around Europe. You get to see all the cool places. You meet a lot of fun people, and you have to play a show every night, which is actually the best part of the day because we all like to play music.
Right.
So sure, give me 3 weeks, give me 4 weeks on a Europe tour, and I'm a happy man.
Now I got a couple subjective questions that I always kind of thread in here to all my guests. So I'll slip a couple in from time to time. The best gig that you ever seen as a fan, is there one that stands out to you, like where you were really in the audience and you were blown away by someone's performance?
Yes, that was, I think, last year. It could be the year before, but I think it was last year at the festival in Spain when Kiss headlined the day we played as well. We were like, yeah, Kiss, and we were all joking about it, with the cheesy lyrics and blah, blah, blah. But from the moment they started playing, I mean, it might be backing tracks, it may be playback or whatever, but the show was awesome. The sound was good. The performance was nice, fireworks. And that impressed me, actually, for guys that are a bit older, you know.
Yeah,
But
sure.
they are still on top of their game, and it was really fun to see them for the first time actually. So yeah, that really impressed me. And I've seen, I think that was the year before, Pantera, the new Pantera lineup.
Yep.
And of course, it's a cover band now and blah, blah, blah. You know,
Yeah.
the bullshit that everybody, I'm like, you know, Pantera as one of my favorite bands. You
Me
get
too.
to see an amazing lineup. I mean, Zach Wild, Charlie Benante, there's world-class musicians playing your favorite music. Stop bitching about who is in the band. Just go there. And they blew me away, really. I'm going to see them next year again, actually.
So am I.
Yeah, in Amsterdam. So
Yeah. I've got tickets to when they start up again next year in April. It's going to be them and Suicidal Tendencies and Metallica that are going to be in a great lineup. What a lineup. I mean it's Metallica's tour, but for some reason it's alternating opening bands depending on like what stop they're in. So you know, either you get the Metallica with Pantera and Suicidal, or you get Metallica with two different bands. I can't remember who the other two are, but I'm glad that I got the two that I got, though, because seeing Pantera, I haven't seen Pantera with the new lineup yet, but I love those guys.
Oh, they're good.
Yeah.
They're really good. Yeah.
And plus, you're getting guys who are kind of in that inner circle of Pantera. Like, these aren't just two guys that just play the drums and the guitar. These are two guys that are kind of part of the Pantera family.
Yeah,
you know
they've been long-time friends and stuff. And that
great. Matters.
Yeah, that matters. Really. Yeah,
it does. Yeah, I think it does. I mean, so let me ask you another one. Has there been a time when you've been out in your travels and touring where you've gotten to meet somebody that you were really blown away by? You know what I mean? I don't want to say starstruck because we're adults. I don't want to think of us being like fanboys or whatever. But is there somebody that you got the chance to meet, like a hero somewhere along the way?
Yeah, I did, and I wish I didn't.
Okay.
I won't name them. Yeah, sometimes if you play a festival or whatever, and you bump into somebody at the catering or whatever, and it's like, hey, I'm not a guy that goes for autographs and selfies, but
right, sure,
a little small talk always. I mean, that's fun, right?
Yeah, sure, especially with someone you admire. Yeah,
with a neighbor or with whoever.
Yeah,
but I had it twice when I met my favorite drummer. For like a huge inspiration, and I'm like I was really looking up to him, and after speaking with him for 5 minutes I was like, okay, you are actually a fucking dick. That's I won't name the person.
Fair enough. I understand your reasoning for that.
I don't listen to his music anymore. I don't care about his YouTube uploads anymore. I'm like,
wow,
okay, totally, because I mean you are a fantastic musician. But my father is a great carpenter. I don't know, or my neighbor is a great baker. But
right,
why do you need an attitude now?
Right. So you took it so far as to say, wow, man, I'm done listening to this guy, supporting this guy, having anything to do with him, though. It made that big of an impact on you.
You're really fucked up, though.
Yeah. No,
nothing crazy, but just the way he acted. He was like really
an attitude.
Yeah, it was really like, okay, he's a drummer, I'm a drummer, and then he was totally like, oh, you're a drummer, okay, but I'm more of a drummer, or I'm better than you, or I play in bigger bands or whatever. And I'm like, if you have that attitude, okay, have fun. When I joined the In Aphelion guys, I mean, it was Sebastian and Johan. Look at their resume. They've been in Necrophobic, of course, Niflheim, you name it, all the big names in Sweden. They've played guitar, and they are the most down-to-earth guys ever. And I'm like, you can be like that as well. And I think if you are like them, everybody has more fun.
Absolutely. I agree with you 110%. Yeah. And plus you got to realize too, man, that like, even though you're a fellow musician, I mean, like you may be playing drums because of this guy, I mean, that's that's a responsibility, you're influencing people out there, man. And well, the age old saying is always, be careful meeting your heroes. I mean, you could be let down. I mean, it's one of those.
Never meet your heroes.
Yeah. It can be a letdown sometimes, but I mean, that kind of arrogance though is if people stop supporting you, that's it. You have no career. You know what I mean? So like, why try to send them away with a bad taste in their mouth?
That's also true. But it was not the guy was not like a Gene Simmons or something, or
Right.
or an Ozzy Osbourne, you know, like a real big rock star. He was
Okay.
just a drummer I really liked watching and following him for tips and techniques and blah blah blah. And I was like, okay, but maybe you play in a bigger band than I, but what makes you better?
Right.
I
Right.
mean, you know, I don't
Right.
really no, I don't really like that.
Now, I may have asked you this the last time, man, and you know, as I said, CRYPTOSIS, man, you guys are three amazing musicians. Has there ever been any consideration or talk about a second guitar player, or do you guys like being a three-piece?
Yeah, we like being a free piece for sure because you know, when we have to make a decision, it's always 2 against 1.
You
Or
got tiebreaker.
if you have 2 against 2, you have a problem.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, but I mean, the three of us have a chemistry now going on. We are, I mean, we are friends, of course, and we share the same opinions about a lot of stuff. And now, if you are that close for 10 years and you bring in another guy, you know, will it fit? Maybe
Right.
after a year or so. But yeah, I don't know. I think we are doing pretty well as a free piece now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
With the effects on the bass, with the mellotron and the you know, and the core stuff and the backing tracks, so to speak. I mean, the three of us, yeah. I mean, I think it's fun to watch a free piece.
I do too.
You can
Yeah.
see the drummer, bass player, singer, you know,
Yeah.
they are running around, and it's not like a guy always blocking my view or whatever. So no, it's gonna be a free piece for at least as long as I'm in the band, I think.
Yeah. 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 Well, it works. It works. And I think a lot of times, man, I think people are more amazed because, you know, first of all, with how progressive and what great technical players you are, you know, if you didn't visually see you guys, you would think it's a 4 or 5 piece band, you know, because you guys really are able to really fill out that sound, and there's a lot going on there. So it sounds like there's more going on there, which I think makes it all the more impressive.
Well, there is something more going on, just between you and me. You know, we play with click tracks, like everybody does nowadays. Almost everybody, and our video show with our LED wall is going synchronized on the music,
right?
And we were like, okay, we are going to play with click tracks anyway, so why not add a few backing tracks? You know, Frank came up with that idea, and I was like, fuck, where's the rock and roll in that, and blah blah blah. But if you think of it, you play with a click track anyway. Why not put 1 or 2 like extra instruments on a track that sends out to the PA and make your sound from this to there?
You beef it up. Yeah. Sure.
I must say though, there's no instruments on those tracks. I mean, guitar, bass, drums, vocals too, backing vocals as well. It's all live. There's no playbacking going on. It's just adding extra sounds that we cannot make ourselves.
And now when you're playing
extra.
And now when you're playing drums and you're teaching drums like so much, is there anything in the last couple of years, 6 months to the last couple of years, that you feel like you've gotten better on, or that you've learned about your instrument? I mean, obviously, if you're a player, you're probably always progressing, you're always learning. But what's one big, drastic thing that you feel like, you've learned about the drums recently?
Well, I learned to split up things in smaller parts or something.
Okay.
Like, for example, I play drums for 20 years now. When I watch a YouTube tutorial about something I want to learn, there's a guy, okay, put your hands there, play this, and I'm like, okay, I got it. But a student that only plays 2 or 3 years and he wants to learn the same thing, I can't say just play this sticking at this speed and go have fun. You really have to like undress that whole subject. Doesn't make any sense. Undress.
Yeah.
Like if you have a block of notes that's making super much sense for me to play, a student may find it super hard. So you have to take that and divide it into more chapters, into building up to there.
That makes sense. That makes sense.
Yeah. So it's not like watch a YouTube tutorial and play it. Now I also know the techniques and everything behind it to be able to tell it to somebody that doesn't know.
Right. Now, let me ask you another subjective question. If you were able to take one of your bands, In Aphelion, CRYPTOSIS, doesn't matter. We'll say for argument's sake, CRYPTOSIS. If you could take CRYPTOSIS and you were able to go out on tour, what would your dream bill be? Like if CRYPTOSIS could play with two other bands, and of course, obviously, this is just subjective. You know what I mean? Like, what would be your dream tour bill?
Well, that's actually now a bit different than with Bionic Swarm because our music changed a bit, I think.
Right.
But
right.
I don't know. We are all Behemoth fans. Like
Okay.
we like what they do. We like their show and their whole visual aspect of the band. So that would be I think that would be the headliner actually. What else? There's so many bands. We are Dimmu Borgir fans. We like Dimmu Borgir a lot.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, it will be a mixture of everything. Maybe at Symphony X. How many bands does?
Well, yeah. I'm not sure. I tend to see nowadays, man, on metal shows, you see like sometimes like a bill of 3 bands, 4 bands. I mean, that right there, what you just named, would be an amazing concert. You guys and you said Dimmerborger and Behemoth. Yeah. I mean, it's an incredible show.
I know. Make it happen.
I know. Make it happen, guys. If you're out there, make it happen.
Yeah. No, we're all into different kind of music, but those bands also Symphony X, but Megadeth as well, or Opeth, for example. Those are bands that connect the 3 of us. I mean, my style is completely different than Frank's style, but there are a few bands that we all really like to listen to, and we listen to them if we are driving to shows, and we talk about them and blah blah blah. So yeah, those will be just a few names out of everybody that comes up right now.
And now you just mentioned that there have been some changes in your music. Now, to the untrained ear, like what changes do you feel like have happened in the time between Bionic Swarm and this EP? You know what I mean? How has the sound changed? Yes, I know you talked about like, piping in some extra stuff or whatever, but at the core, has the CRYPTOSIS sound changed?
Not very much, in my opinion, but there are some people behind us, like bookers and labels that are, okay, this is totally something else, and we are like, we don't agree or something. We just made music that we liked ourselves, and I think it's still super close to Bionic Swarm, but I think it's more atmospheric or something.
Okay.
Bionic Swarm was more like we play a riff and we play another and we go piece by piece. But now we have a song that has 2 minutes of the same drum beat with a whole orchestra behind it and just a really slow guitar riff that makes you do this. If you are driving on the highway, it's like, that not like, oh, what's happening now and what's happening now.
Right.
So maybe.
Right. Do you feel like your sound is evolving? Do you feel like the sound is evolving?
It's evolving for sure, if you ask me.
Yeah. And that's probably like a necessary thing, right? Because I always hate that people always want to criticize a band for not sounding the same. But then on the other side of the coin, they want to criticize them for always sounding the same. You know what I mean? Like, I mean, you're in a difficult position when you're a musical artist, because you're almost damned if you do, damned if you don't. If you're putting out the same product and staying consistent, then people think you're boring. When you're making any drastic tweaks or changes to your sound, then people are saying that you've sold out or you've lost, you're losing your core audience.
Exactly. And that's what we talked about when we are when some of the demos were kind of finished.
Yeah,
we were like, okay, will people that follow CRYPTOSIS now like this, or will they not like this? And we were discussing exactly what you said. You can't make everybody happy.
Right.
So now what we did is make ourselves happy in the first place, and then we have some friends listening to it, and they were like, yeah, it's cool. And then the album finished, or the demos, and we showed it to our label, to the boss of Central Media, who visited us in Berlin at the show earlier this year, and he was impressed. So we were like, okay, for the people that we care about liking it, most of all ourselves, we're doing something pretty good now. So. I hope everybody else likes it, of course. But yeah, there is a bit of a change going on. But
and when you guys write a song, man, like what do you guys like sit back and like, you know, because you made a good point. You're making music first and foremost that you guys like. So like you go track by track, and like you said about having 3 members, do you guys put songs to a vote? Like how do you know like when a song is completed and when you know that it's good to go on an album? You know, I mean, what's the criteria for it passing the CRYPTOSIS test? You guys all kind of have to approve of it?
Yeah, also, but in my opinion, it has to be easy listening.
Okay.
Even if the music is super progressive. For example, Factor music. You know Factor, of course.
Yes. Yep.
We toured with them a couple of times, and they are one of my favorite bands. And they are progressive as hell, but it's still for me easy listening. So I think that's a criteria. And I mean, you can't have 2-minute songs. I mean, that's more grindcore.
Right.
You can't have 13-minute songs. That's more OPEC, you know.
Right.
So
right.
It has to be length somehow. But some songs are 4 minutes and some are 7.5. So we don't really watch time. But it has to be easy listening. There must be a flow. And we don't want to feel like we are repeating ourselves.
Okay. Fair enough.
You know, the same riffs come back in one song, chorus, verse, blah blah blah. But if we are listening and okay, now this song is taking too long, or this riff again, we cut it out and we put something else, or we end it there, or we put a solo or a break or whatever. It has to be exciting, but not, yeah, how do you say it? Not too exciting or something.
Right.
Attention span.
And now Bionic Swarm came out in 2021. So by the time you guys put this new album out, it'll be 2025. I know we got the EP or whatever, but is that the right amount of time? Do you guys have a set amount of time that you think is appropriate between projects? Because, you know, by the time the new album comes out, it'll be 4 years since your last full-length album. Is there a set amount of time, or does it just kind of, you know, like, you know, depend on when the songs come together?
Well, I actually, I don't know. I think for us, an album is finished when we feel like it's finished.
Right.
And we actually wanted to do drum recordings already last year in December, because our whole idea was to release the album in October of this year.
Okay.
And when we were going to the studio, it was super close. I think it was 3 days before, listening to the demos, and we were like, oh no, we're not ready. It's 95% ready.
Yeah.
If we are going to record it, it will always be 95%.
Right.
I was like, okay, let's move the drum recording to April, give us 3 or 4 more months to finish those details, and now we're all happy, and now everything is super great, and I'm glad we've done it. But it's like, yeah, that puts 4 months on the calendar. You know,
so you would not like it to be typically you wouldn't want it to be 4 years between albums, though. You would like to be putting out stuff sooner than that.
In my opinion, 2 years in between albums is the perfect balance. But I think, yeah, put it out when it's ready. And Frank and Lawrence have a certain way of writing songs. They are super into that shit, and they know what they want. But Sebastian, for example, he writes a Necrophobic and an In Aphelion album in 1 year. Both albums are fantastic, but the music is a bit different, I think. Not so much, there is a lot of detail in it, but not like we have to discuss drum parts or we have to discuss riffs or blah blah blah. I mean, he writes songs a lot faster, and you know, life happens. Sometimes there's always personal stuff going on that causes a bit of a delay, and with all 3 of us, actually. So yeah, 2 years is more ideal, but now it's 4 years. I think it's worth the wait. Listening to the masters right now, I'm like, this is gonna be amazing. I hope everybody else likes it, but we are happy, and I think that's most important. So
and I know we talked about like time earlier, and and we talked about LP versus EP. How do you know when an album is done in terms of how many songs and how many minutes? Like, is that something you guys sit around and talk about? You know, because obviously we just touched on attention spans not being what they used to be. You know, do you guys sit down and have like a set recipe, like 9 songs, 10 songs, 40 minutes, 50 minutes? You know, I mean, does that enter the thought process at all?
Not really, but it's the same with songs. You know, when we recorded Bionic Swarm, we recorded 9 songs, and there's 8 on the album.
Yep.
I think.
Yep.
Oops. And now there will be 9 on the album, and we recorded 10.
Okay.
So it was actually, the whole album was finished, everybody was happy, and now listening to the final product, we are like, okay, you know, this song, which is still a pretty good song, is just too much. I mean, it's too much ketchup on your fries. You know what I mean?
I'm looking at Bionic Swarm. It was 10 songs.
Sorry?
10 songs on Bionic Swarm, but it was 37 minutes.
Yeah, and the 10 is with the intro and the overture.
Yes.
Track 5, the intro for Conjuring. Yeah. Then it's 10. But eight real songs.
Right. I mean, but a 37-minute album, though, man. I mean, I feel like when you're somewhere in that wheelhouse, that is a good number, though, because you remember back in the days. I mean, people thought nothing of like a Metallica album would be well over an hour sometimes. You know, an hour's worth of music. You know, I mean, you would get bands that would put out long pieces of work. Is that still feasible in this day and age, or is that not even? I mean, are people going to sit down and listen to a 75-minute album?
I don't know if you are like into the music enough, you will probably listen to the whole album. But for example, the new Metallica album, 72 Seasons.
Yeah,
I mean, I'm still a Metallica fan. I don't listen to them that much, but Metallica is still the biggest band in the world, and
they paved the way.
Yeah. If you listen to 72 Seasons right now, I tried it earlier this year to start at song 1, and I was actually done after song 5 because the songs are a bit too long. In my opinion, it's more the same thing going on constantly. But then a student comes in and he says, can you help me learn this Metallica song? And then it's track 6 or 7 or 8 on the 72 Seasons album.
You're like, damn, why did I listen to it all?
It's a good song, but I never got there.
Right.
So it's the attention span.
Right.
Another example is the latest Factor album. I think it's 2016, Terminal Redux.
Yep.
That goes for an hour, more than an hour, and I can listen to that from song 1 to 10 in one go.
Yeah, and it
depends on the music.
And it feels fast when you're listening to it. It doesn't feel like you spent an hour. Yeah.
No, it feels super fast.
Yeah, I think that's the thing with the listener. I mean, it can be an hour long, but it can't feel like it's an hour long. I mean, like some things, an hour goes by quickly, and then sometimes an hour, with a Metallica album, that hour might feel like 6 hours. You know?
Exactly. Yeah, and that's the problem. I don't know if it's a problem. I mean, a lot of people like the new album, but for me, it's I don't know. My attention span is a bit too short to listen to 8 minutes repetitive. Fresh metal riffs, and
I agree. So if people aren't familiar with CRYPTOSIS' music now, here's the part where we'll try to make some new fans here. If they're not familiar with your music or what you guys do live, man, what could somebody's tuning in to watch this right now, they don't know CRYPTOSIS, man, and you're trying to kind of affect how they feel about the band. What would you say to expect from a CRYPTOSIS album or a CRYPTOSIS show?
Yeah, that's a very hard question because you're basically asking what kind of music we play.
Right.
So that's always that's what I don't really like about.
You don't like genres. You don't like genres and being categorized.
No, I mean, if I'm like, I play in a band in Sweden, it's black metal. It's easy. Conversation over or conversation starting.
Right.
But not like CRYPTOSIS. Yeah, it's like a bit of trash, but it also has some black. Yeah, no, with the new album, maybe some death metal, but there's still thrash metal, but also progressive, but we go a bit slower. And I'm always like trying to find new ways to explain CRYPTOSIS in one sentence. but I can't, and that's what I dislike. But that's also what I really do like, because I mean, if you like, yeah, we play thrash metal. You know, I play drums in Creator. We play thrash metal, okay, but thrash metal is like how many bands? You know,
Right.
and
Right.
Cryptosis. I'm not trying to say we are reinventing the wheel or something, but we are making music that we like ourselves, and it's not really. You can't put it in boxes, so it's a little bit of everything, maybe our own style, but I think that's a really big word to use.
Yeah, yeah,
Like,
yeah. Well, because you know how the metal world is. You know, the metal world seems to have genres and then a lot of subgenres and subgenres to those. You know what I mean? Like, you know,
exactly. Yeah, yeah. It's not black metal; it's post-core black metal, and I'm like, okay, what's the fucking difference? Do you
right?
like it or not? You know, I mean,
Yeah,
listen to it or don't listen to it. It's that easy. But
yeah,
the Cryptosis is hard to explain. On a live show, it's everything we like to see from bands, and we are trying to do that on our own budget. I mean,
yeah.
we don't get $20,000 or euros for a show, and within our budget or our show fee, we are trying to make the most out of it. So we 9 out of 10 times we bring our own backline. It's not only looking better, it's sounding better. We
Right.
always bring a front of house guy and sound guy and that kind of stuff, but we always bring a video show. Either it's on a LED wall behind us, or
Right.
smaller productions, it's on two big flat screen TVs on the side of the stage, and everything is synchronized to our music. And that's what basically we saw Megadeth doing it. A lot of bands do it actually. If you go to an arena show and you see the band playing on the stage, but those big screens, you know,
Right.
with the live video, we are trying to do that as well somehow, but smaller. So we are making a headliner production show on our own budget. So very small,
Right.
a very small version of it. So to
But it
say.
is visual, though. You know what I mean? People think they go to a
It's
music concert. You know what I mean? You know, there is a visual aspect to it too.
That
You
was
know?
I was yeah, that's exactly it. It's visual, and it started in the pandemic when we could do shows for I don't know how many, 50 people, but
Yeah.
a seated audience because of the 2 meters, blah blah blah. And we were like, okay, what's more boring than watch a band go on full speed for an hour long?
You're
And
sitting there, yeah.
you are sitting there, and alcohol was forbidden, so people would drink I don't know, chocolate milk or something, watching
Yeah.
a thrash metal band. Like,
That's
Yeah.
not very rock and roll, is it?
no, nothing. So we were like, I mean, if you go to a movie theater, you know, to the
Yeah.
cinema, and you watch a movie, people can watch for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
We were like, okay, we're going to do such shows with seated audience. Let's make it interesting for them, and that's how the whole idea started.
Yeah, well, it's a good idea. And now, do you feel like, and I've realized this the more guests I've had on here. I know obviously a great album, you know, a lot of things you know, come into play. Artwork, obviously it starts with great songs, you know, telling the story. But I'm starting to realize that the arrangement and the order of the songs on an album is almost an art in and of itself. You know, used to hear the term back in the day, oh, you know, this is a concept album. This is a concept album. But I think all albums in a way are conceptual, though. You guys are trying to tell a story, and the arrangement of the songs and the cadence of everything is very important.
Yeah, and it's also important to make a right set list. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, if you have an album, sure, you will start with a track that gets your attention. So it's mostly a fast track. And you
Right.
go a bit slower, maybe more slow, and then build it up towards another fast song or whatever. But that's how bands do set lists. I
Yeah.
mean, if you watch I don't know what band. Let's say Metallica. They will start with Creeping Dead or a song, you know, an up tempo song, and
Right.
then
Right.
they will play a slower song, and nothing else matters somewhere in the back. And then when that song is finished, the super slow one, they will go with a very fast one to make the impact more impactful.
Right. Sure.
You know?
Right.
So
Well,
that's how.
because because you guys are progressive, you know, and you know, your albums do tell a story. Is there a lot of thought put into that? Like, okay, this is going to be track one. This is going to start the album, and then we're going to go in this sequence and in this order. You guys
Yeah.
all have a hand in kind of deciding that.
Well, Frank is mostly the guy that would burn a CD for in his car, you know, in whatever order he thinks the tracks are correct. He will burn a CD and listen to it in his car when he's driving to work.
Yeah.
He's like, yeah, I'm thinking about swapping songs 3 and 4. And I'm like, okay, you know, it's fine. And then Lawrence says like, okay, maybe song 7 and 8 needs to be switched. And I'm like, yeah, I'm fine, you know.
Yeah.
And now the order is like completed. We all agree on it. I'm like, okay, it's cool like this. But for me, if song 2 and 3 were still switched, it would have been fine for me as well. I'm not really that much into detail. It has to be easy listening, and all versions were easy listening because the songs are a bit more easier. It's not that progressive anymore, actually.
Right. So you're saying that the progressive side has been dialed back a little bit, and you had made mention, you let slip a couple minutes ago that maybe more elements of death metal. So do you feel like this album, without saying too much, is going to be perceived as heavier than Bionic Swarm?
Well, first of all, if I had to pick a genre that's more into us than it was before, it's black metal. It's not, but yeah, there's some influence from death metal.
Okay.
But I don't know. Progressive, not that much anymore. We are more atmospheric.
Okay.
I think more a bit darker. Too.
Okay.
It's actually hard to describe. Yeah.
But there have been changes, though. There has been a slight departure from the sound that we knew of from Bionic Swarm.
Yes.
You know. Okay.
There has been changes, and everybody says you can still hear it's CRYPTOSIS, but it's the next step.
Okay. Yeah, that sounds fair. And you know what, man? I think it's important for bands to evolve, though, man. It really is. You know what I mean? And you know, as we said earlier, people are always going to either love or hate what you do. You know what I mean? You know, but I think if fans are true fans, you know what I mean? I think they have to understand that you guys don't want to just put out Bionic Swarm every single time. You know what I mean? Yeah. You want to change and evolve as musicians.
Exactly. And it was actually I mean, you must know, before CRYPTOSIS we were called Distillator.
Yeah.
Super old school thrash metal all the way, you know, and we did it for 2 albums and an EP. And we were like, okay, next step now. Lawrence got better at writing riffs, and I was a better drummer, and Frank learned some tricks, and he came in with the mellotron and stuff. And then we wrote Bionic Swarm as Distillator. So Bionic Swarm was supposed to be an old school thrash metal album,
right?
Which didn't really work. I mean, it's not old school thrash metal.
Right.
Like, okay, what do we do? Do we change the music, or do we change the image of the band, including a new band name? And that's how we ended up being CRYPTOSIS. But Bionic Swarm should have been a thrash metal album. And now all limits were off. We are not a thrash metal band anymore. We are not death metal. We can now write songs that we really like listening to ourselves, take influences from all kinds of different music, even jazz and funk and you name it. So there won't be jazz parts in the music, don't get me wrong, but for some drum parts or something, yeah, there's still some funky stuff going on, or some Gojira maybe a little bit with you know, just something else, because we don't think in, oh, this is not thrash metal or this is not death metal. Is like, does it fit the song, and do we like it, and does it sound fucking cool? And that's the song.
And you know, obviously, you know, plans can change, you know, dates can be pushed back, but would you safely say that probably the beginning part of 2025 is when we should expect a new CRYPTOSIS album?
Yes, actually, yeah, we got our release date set already for months.
Okay.
So we know exactly. I just don't know if I am allowed to share that already.
Well, and those things can change too sometimes. You know what I mean? Like, you just never really know.
This one won't change, because we we wanted to do the release in October, as I said, but because
Okay.
we moved everything, and we called Central Media, and we were like, yeah, we're not very happy with the result, and they were like, okay, you know, quality over quantity, so that's really great from them. And we had a release date set in October, and we were like, we're not gonna make it. It has to be the next option. And they were like, okay, we're gonna push you back 6 months because our schedule is like so tight, and every week there's stuff coming out. So if the release date we have now won't work, it will be next year, October or September, and that's not gonna happen.
You don't want it to be that late.
No,
right?
no. It's, but everything is finished now. Everything is already stamped out. The CDs are being printed as we speak.
Right.
Vinyl, all the new merch, everything. So it's gonna drop early next year.
Awesome.
No matter what.
I'm thrilled, man. I'm thrilled. And I'm also thrilled as an upstate New Yorker, man, that Ronnie James Dio poster has been behind you the whole time, man. Upstate New York's own. We claim him. Ronnie James Dio, the legend.
He was there the last time.
Yeah.
I don't change shit around here. I think everything's the same. These guitars I never play, and a bunch of crap. This is my my home studio office. I'm here, like, you know, the lights are not so bright. I get inspiration here, video editing and mixing music and stuff. Yeah. So this is my happy place. It's I don't know how much it is in feet, but it's 2 by 2 meters. So
hey, listen, Ronnie James Dio, man, will make any space a happy place.
That's true, and it's also it's like a sound dampening thing.
Oh, okay.
Just a flag putting over it, so it has
dual purpose.
Yeah, and it's my favorite singer of all time. So
love him, absolutely amazing.
I have him somewhere.
You know, it's absolutely amazing that voice came out of a guy that was so diminutive. He was not a big guy, very small,
and only ate fast food.
Oh yeah, I know, that's crazy. I know a guy that small just eating fast food, but yet he was never overweight. Always a small guy.
Yeah, that's maybe because he worked out or something. But that's, you know, the trend of last year's is like, yeah, I'm a touring musician, and if you want to tour, you have to eat veggies, and you have to work out and drink your protein shakes and blah blah blah. And Ronnie James Dio is like, nah, I like a bucket of chicken fingers and a few beers, and I'm like, fuck yeah, you know, that's that's how it should be, I think.
Yeah, well, I mean, listen,
he died early, so I don't know.
Yeah,
you know,
young rock stars out there, you know, you can admire Ronnie James Dio, but don't necessarily heed all the advice. You know, the fast food thing, he might have been a little bit, he might have gone a little astray on that theory.
I know. I'm a huge fast food lover myself too, and
who's not?
When I'm on tour, you know, and you go to a place like Rome in Italy, you're not gonna order a salad. You're gonna eat pizza. I mean, you're in Italy. I mean, come on. But if you are at home, I try to watch my diet a little bit and eat my veggies and a bit of fruit and drink a lot of water, no alcohol, blah blah. But
it's also very hard too, because when you probably go to these fucking these venues, you know what I mean, if they do afford you the luxury of giving you some food, it's probably going to be shit food. You know what I mean? Not healthy.
It's actually, I toured with 2 American bands this year. No, 3, sorry. And they were like, Europe has the best catering and hospitality service all over the world.
Who did you get a chance to tour with? What American bands did you get a chance to tour with?
Well, we CRYPTOSIS toured as support for Cynic in March.
Yep.
And then in August, I was supposed to have holidays. I just closed my drumming school, and I was like, fuck yeah, 4 weeks off, you know, time for myself. And then Chris Monroy called from Skeletal Remains.
Yep.
He was like, my drummer flew home. So in the middle of a tour, the guy took a plane and he fucked off. Yeah. So can you learn 8 songs in a day and go on tour with us? So of course I did, because I like Skeletal Remains too.
Yep.
And in September, I toured with Fifth Angel, the other band of Ken Mary, the Flotsam and Jetsam drummer.
Oh man, do I love Ken Mary, man! I'll tell you what, man. I've had both the Flotsam and I've had the Flotsam and Jetsam guys. First of all, are the fucking greatest dudes ever, man.
Yeah, they are really nice.
And they are a criminally underrated thrash metal band. When people talk about all the great thrash metal bands, it makes me insane that they never mention Flotsam and Jetsam, man. But the Flots guys are so great. And I've had a chance to tell Eric and Michael, I've had them both on here, man, you know, and how much better their band has become. They've always been great. But Ken Mary has made them such a fucking better band than they already were. And they were already great, man. But he's a fucking great drummer, man.
The band is as good as your drummer. So that's really true, actually.
Yeah. And Flotsam and Jetsam has been so consistent. The last 4 or 5 albums that they've rolled out, and a lot of people don't know it, but I always remind the boys when they're on here, man, that way back when they released Doomsday for the Deceiver, that was their debut album. And Jason Newsted, he wrote a lot of that album, and then he left, obviously, to go take the Metallica gig. But that album, to this day, Doomsday for the Deceiver, is the only album that's ever gotten a 6K review by Kerrang! Magazine. They've never given that high a ranking to any other album in all these years. And Kerrang! Magazine is a pretty big deal, you know?
I didn't even know that. I know.
Yeah,
Doomsday,
Doomsday for the Deceiver. Yeah, that's their debut album, man. And Kerrang! Magazine, it gives rating of a K for Kerrang! And it usually gives the highest is 5. They gave that album 6, and they've never done it again. Yeah.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
I've always loved the band, actually.
I always break their balls when they're on here, and I always say, hey, after all these years, you still got the 6K rating on you know, the 6K. Only one. Yeah,
that's awesome. They totally they deserve more.
Nice guys.
With so many bands, you know, it's hard to make a living out of your music, or to get the higher paid gigs or whatever. So,
well, it's nice to see those guys. It's nice to see them as approachable and great guys. You know, a lot like yourself. You know what I mean? Like you made that point earlier about meeting your heroes or whatever. I mean, I'm 51 years old, so these guys are kind of in the same age bracket as me. But you know, they are a little older. I did listen to them when I was a kid. I don't know if it's necessarily being starstruck or them being my heroes, but I certainly admire and look up to them. So it is nice when people pop onto the podcast and they are actually good humans too. You know.
Yeah. Exactly, and that's what I had 2 years ago when I stepped in so last minute to do a tour with them.
Yeah,
I was like, I didn't see them as big rock stars or something, because I've met them before and I knew they were super nice.
Yeah,
but when I had one day to learn the whole set list and jump in on a tour with them so last minute, they were super respectful and super thankful, and they were like, "Do you need this? Do you need this? What can we do to make your life a bit easier the next coming 2 days?" With the 2 first shows, that's always so, you know, it's there's actually a lot of pressure on you.
Sure. Yeah.
And they were super great. And
I will tell you, it is going to bug me, and I may have to do a little bit of an internet fucking deep dive on this. And of course, I'll keep it to myself, whatever I do find out. But it is bugging the hell out of me, Marco, who your hero was that fucking pissed you off. It's going to bug me forever, Marco. I know, and I don't want you to say it on here because I don't want to out anybody or make anybody feel bad. But you're such a nice guy. I can't believe that you approached somebody the way that you are, and someone was an asshole to you, man. But I mean, it's going to fucking bug me. I've got my theories, but I mean.
No, it's you're not gonna find it on social media.
I know, I probably won't.
But no, it's not really. Maybe the guy had a bad day or something. But I heard stories, of course, because he's a drummer, and I talked to other drummers.
Right.
This happened to me there and there, and he was like, "Oh, with that guy, yeah, I know him, and he's just like that." And I'm like, you know, if you slip up or whatever, it's fine. You can say sorry if you feel the need to, and we're gonna be okay. But it was within 2 minutes. I know this guy is just so not on this world or something.
Right.
That he's like he doesn't even know he's behaving like that, and it's just not my kind of people.
Right. That's the problem with people right there, man. They don't even realize it. It's just coming out, and they don't even realize that they're abrasive and rubbing people the wrong way. It's literally they become jaded, and it's who they become, you know?
But maybe I didn't meet the whole band he was playing with, but maybe it's super normal to be in that environment of that band and the crew. And, you know, maybe they are all they are all behaving like that.
Yeah,
I don't
yeah.
know.
Maybe he's not. Maybe he's not enjoying himself, because I've had a lot of guys on here recently who have made the point that they're making music right now and they're actually experiencing joy making the music. And I think that's probably the biggest reward for a musician. So maybe he's in a position where it isn't bringing him any joy anymore. You know?
Maybe, but yeah, it could be. But I'm like, if you play drums for a living, you know, you tour the whole world, you play festivals, you are in a well-known band, you make
You're
a decent
fortunate.
amount of money,
Yeah.
you have the best fucking job in the world. I mean, it's
Yeah.
like a small kid going to soccer practice to become the new Messi. You
Yeah.
know, that's how I've been practicing drums for the last 20 years to get where I am right now. And I want to get higher. Don't
Right.
get me wrong. But I mean, if you accomplish a goal like that, you have to be happy about it. And
Absolutely.
maybe he is still happy, or he doesn't want other people to have the same happiness as him. I don't know.
Yeah.
I know it's bugging you. I don't want to talk shit about other people. That's not what I do.
I'm going to put it out of my head, Marco. I'm putting it out of my head. I'm going to let it. Yeah.
No.
I'm going to let it. I'm just going to let it lie. Yeah. But listen, man, I appreciate you making the time. I know it's late. We got a time difference here, man. You've been teaching all day, man. But thanks for making the time, man. You know I love you guys, man. I'm a huge fan, man. I can't wait for the new album, man. You know, you're always a friend of the show. I had you on last year, man. I always love chopping it up with you, man. I'm looking forward to the new music, man. I wish you guys all the best, man. Really, thanks for doing it, man.
Same for you, and thank you for your time, and thank you for your interest in us, and having me on YouTube. It's always fun. So
I appreciate you, man. And as always, stay in touch. When we get closer to the album coming out, hopefully we can jump on and do it again, man.
Yeah, for sure. It will be early next year. I don't know if you are on our social media at all.
I am.
But it will be all over the place. You can't miss it. Trust me.
I can't wait, brother. I'm excited, man. Thanks, Marco. Appreciate you, brother.
Awesome.
Later, my man.
Well, all the best. Cheers.
All right, you too, brother. Talk to you soon, man. Thank
Bye,
you.
Man.
Later. There he goes, folks. One of my favorite guys, man. One of the good guys, which is a shame that he actually had an encounter with, sounds like one of the bad guys. MARCO PRIJ, MARCO CRYPTOSIS. You might know him as he is the guy laying down the beat for the mighty progressive thrash trio CRYPTOSIS. If you don't know, holy fuck, you should. Go back and check out their debut album, 2021's Bionic Swarm. As Marco kind of alluded to, the sound may be tweaked a little bit more. Well, they did put out an EP here in 2023, The Silent Call. But we're waiting for that full length, which sounds like it's coming here in early 2025. CRYPTOSIS, an amazing three-piece, man, of progressive thrash, black and metal, elements of a lot of different stuff at play there. Heavy as fuck, man. Just a great band with just great songwriting, man. I can't talk them up enough, man. One of my favorites, man. The boys know it, man. I talk them up a lot, man. CRYPTOSIS is a fucking great band. Do yourself a favor. If I can say Rexx Ruger approved, I can't say it enough for these boys, man. I love CRYPTOSIS, man. As I said, they are a three-piece. Marco, Lawrence, and Frank. Amazing songwriters, amazing players. You know, you can't pull off progressive if you're not proficient on your instrument and can't kick ass at what you do. And the boys certainly can do that. So check out CRYPTOSIS. 2021 was the debut. Bionic Swarm. 2023, they just did a 5-song EP, The Silent Call. And then the big news is new album in 2025, a full length, which I can't wait for. So again, many thanks to MARCO PRIJ for being on here. I know he had a full day of, we were talking offline throughout the last couple of days, teaching. He teaches drums as well. So I appreciate him. There is a time difference. He's in the Netherlands, so we have a 6-hour time difference. So it's late there for him. So I appreciate him making the time. He's always so accommodating. Fucking one of the good guys, man. So thanks, Marco. Hope you guys enjoyed that episode. Remember, guys, make sure to like and follow PodScum on Facebook. You got to do it. Find out when the new episodes are coming out. Let me get myself another look here. After a great interview like that, I like to make sure that I'm still holding up well. And confirmed, I'm holding up more than well. The Diamond David Lee Roth Jr. genetics never let me down. And again, neither does this product right here. Up your game, kids. That being said, also make sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notification bell on this channel to stay tapped in. I think that's what I was saying before Marco joined us when I was doing my obligatory promotional stuff. Also, if you're on the channel, man, pop over and check out Off the Couch Boxing if you're a fan of pugilism and the fight game. There's 160 episodes that yours truly co-hosted with my son, Frankie the Flamethrower. So go check those out. And of course, always stay tapped into Pod Scum, man. You got to do it. This is where the best conversations are happening, bar none. So I will end this the way I always end it, by reminding you all out there to take it easy and keep it sleazy.